Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast, bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. I hope you guys liked that little surprise yesterday. No, for real, you guys have been so kind about Annabelle taking over Wednesdays for me. That's just part of the plight of being a founder is trying to get out of like the day-to-day weeds so you can actually work on the bigger like strategy of the business admin, managing your team, all of the things that are really important to like longevity, sustainability, and growth. And that was something I really struggled with last year is my workload in terms of like the granular side of the business was just too much. So anyways, I convinced Annabelle after much time to join the pod and take over Wednesdays. So as she said, her episodes are going to be like tech and social media trends. Mine will remain culture, creator news, that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it goes in terms of like that division, but that is kind of how we're keeping it for now. But thank you guys so much for being so sweet about her first episode. I'm sure you guys could tell, but she was obviously nervous. It's very nerve-wracking to start a podcast. Like I remember when we first started the podcast back in 2020, I would be so anxious driving to the studio. I would be so nervous, and it just takes some time getting used to. And also doing a podcast by yourself is really nerve-wracking. You don't have someone to kind of like save you or like bounce ideas off of. So if that's not something that you're used to, then yeah, it can be really challenging. But I think Annabelle did such a good job, and I think you guys all agree. And I'm just so excited to see where all of this goes. So anyways, with that being said, let's just get into the stories for today. Oh, please rate, review, and subscribe. We're trying to get to now 1,000 Spotify reviews. We're at 506, I think. So we have a ways to go. But yes, please review. Please star rate us on Spotify. Leave us an Apple review if that's how you listen. And just follow me on Instagram at Lauren Meisner _. The first story that I have for you guys is I needed to talk about how Mikayla Nogueira has been like worrying her fans with some of her recent posts about her mental health. So over the holidays, beauty guru Mikayla Nogueira posted several videos talking about how 2024 was the worst year of her life, and she was kind of keeping like a brave face for her audience, but nobody knew that behind the scenes she was falling apart. These videos have resonated so well with her audience that she actually keeps making them and referencing this time in her life, how it's so difficult, and the feedback that she's getting is overwhelmingly supportive and positive. People are like, this is the most relatable that you have been in so long. This is so real. This is so raw. It feels like she's being honest for the first time in a long time. You know, she gets a lot of hate for like, quote unquote, like allegedly lying about her reviews and things like that. I mean, I would say Mikayla's, even though she has such a big audience, and obviously she does have a lot of fans, but I would say that a huge part of her experience online is getting hate. Like, I don't know if there is a TikToker that I can think of off the top of my head. Like, if you said to me, who is the biggest TikToker that you can think of that is like consistently getting hate? Like, I would probably say Mikayla. Mikayla hasn't opened up about like what happened. Obviously, there's lots of speculation about maybe her marriage, maybe a fertility journey. That's all just hearsay as far as I know. One of the biggest, I would say, resounding theories, aside from those things, is that it has something to do with drama channel Rich Lux. So Rich Lux, he makes consistent content about Mikayla, like negative content about Mikayla. And I guess it really ramped up this year. I'm not sure. I don't follow him closely, but I guess it really ramped up this year. And I think he's also friends with Jeffree Star, maybe. Which obviously we know Jeffree Star has also been coming for Mikayla a lot this year as well. So a lot of people think maybe it has something to do with Rich Lux and how he seemingly keeps coming after her, if you could refer to it as that. I think it would just be so difficult. So I don't know if that's what it is. Nobody seems to know. I don't know if she'll tell us. Maybe she will eventually, but for now she's being a lot more open. And yes, some people do think she's like leaning in because she's finally getting positive feedback. But other people are like, you know what, maybe she's just like ready to be a little bit more real online. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is there is a Coors Light campaign that is going viral for a typo. And It's not really what you think. So, a new Coors Light billboard in Times Square, New York City is going viral because there's a typo in the ad copy. And now, LinkedIn pilled marketers are trying to have their own kind of viral, like, gotcha moment, thought leader moment, I suppose, by pointing it out. So, this was brought to my attention by the Denver based creator named Ashley, who is behind the social account Stuff About Advertising. This billboard has a huge photo of a Coors Light can with the slogan, Mountain Cold Refreshment. However, the ad copy switched the E and the R in refreshment, so it says refreshment. This is going off like wildfire, specifically on LinkedIn, where marketers and agencies are writing these like giant posts, like essay-like posts about the importance of copywriting, saying that Coors Light needs to issue a press release about this typo, telling their own stories about like their own typos that they made early on in their career, that kind of stuff, right? So Ashley uncovered that when you go to the Coors Light Instagram account, they seemingly confirm that this typo was on purpose. So they have a post that says, "We had a case of the Mondays. This morning, we released a series of ads in which we misspelled the word refreshment. Thanks everyone for letting us know about the errors. Monday, am I right?" Ashley notes that in this copy, the C in case of the Mondays is capitalized. So she's theorizing that this is a teaser for like a Super Bowl campaign involving, a case of beer, Coors Light, case of Coors Light, after the Super Bowl on Monday. And basically her whole point in bringing attention to this is like, we need to have stronger discernment as professionals in the industry. She's like, these are supposed to be, I guess, like her peers, right? Like marketers, advertisers, social media managers, people that work at agencies, copywriters, and they are looking at that. And instead of questioning like, oh, is that a clever tactic? They're trying to use this as their own moment to like further propel their career, right? Like to kind of have this like viral thought leadership moment. The chances of that running on a billboard on Times Square, like a typo like that running on a billboard in Times Square, which is so big and so expensive, is very low, right? So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on all of this, because to me, I feel like this is just another example of something that I spoke about earlier this week, which is like we're all just vying for our own viral gotcha moments, right? This is especially true in the corporate social media space. I'm not sure how like immersed in that any of you guys are, but I am quite immersed in that right now because I'm trying to do this myself. I'm trying to like post more like founder, business owner related content, and it's cringe, okay? But like you have to do it, unfortunately. But there is this pressure that I feel like, I don't know if it's just like self-imposed pressure or if it's like industry-wide pressure, where we feel like you have to put yourself out there as a personal brand in order to like build your business, climb the corporate ladder, build your career, whatever you're trying to do. And it's like everyone is trying to be a thought leader because it is easier than ever to become one, to post on LinkedIn consistently, to post on TikTok, like the kind of advantages of going viral on those platforms for like a quote unquote like thought leadership moment. It is advantageous. Like they are aplenty, right? And there's this pursuit of virality in the immediacy, which I think is where people go wrong here. I think if we were not all trying to have these viral gotcha moments, and I'm guilty of this too, but I think if we were not all trying to have these like gotcha moments, these thought leader moments where we're the first ones to get to it, then people might take pause. Look at it from a critical lens, especially if these are people who are in the advertising marketing industry. Like, surely if you took just a little bit of time to think about this, instead of going right to LinkedIn to write a post because you want to be one of the first ones to get something up about this, then surely you would be like, you know what? I know my industry well. I know how this works. Maybe this was on purpose. I don't know. I think for me, this story is more of a commentary on how social media has impacted corporate culture and like user behavior around corporate culture, more so than it is a lesson in marketing, in my opinion. But I'm interested to hear from you guys. I know we have a lot of marketers and people that work in social media and stuff that listen to this pod. Okay, so speaking of social media and how it has impacted corporate culture, I have some Australian influencer news for you guys that is related to this. So Chloe Berry Hang, who is a travel Instagram influencer turned corporate life TikToker, has gone viral on Australian TikTok after she revealed that she rejected hush money from the investment bank that she worked at in Sydney so she could speak about her negative workplace experience. I'm sure so many of you guys in Australia, especially Sydney, follow Chloe. She is like such a key follow, I feel like, for the corporate girlies who are maybe like late 20s, early 30s. But Chloe built her following on TikTok, sharing what it's like to be like a quote unquote corporate square, she calls it, working in investment banking. Her videos were mostly, well, not mostly, but a lot of them, the corporate related videos were like outfits of the week, workday vlogs where she would be working like, I don't know, 12, 14-hour days. She was just really honest, I think, about how unglamorous it is working in finance. Like, obviously, you're making lots of money, and that's kind of the trade-off. But her vlogs would be her, for the most part, like getting to work and then just sitting at her desk, at her computer, typing for like 14 hours. And I actually think Chloe did what so many influencers try to do, which is she is incredibly relatable. Like, she is, a 9 to, well, not a 9 to 5, like a 9 to 11 corporate girly. I think she lives in a share house. Like, she feels very relatable. The way she talks about work is very relatable and funny. She's not glamorizing it, like I said, at all. But then she also has this like streak of aspiration to her, which makes her such a compelling follow because she does make so much money. So, her clothes are beautiful and expensive. So it's like she has this perfect balance, which I think has made her so successful. Oh, and she also has this rabbit called King Julian, and people are obsessed with it. Okay, so Chloe shocked her followers about a week ago when she shared that she had left her job, and like I said, that job felt so central to her content. She followed this up a few days later with a video explaining she had refused the quote hush money that she was offered by the company so she could open up online about what she experienced working at that company. She didn't name the company, and I'm not going to name it here. I'm just scared. She detailed that things started to go downhill for her last year after an incident with a male colleague at a work dinner. She said he kept touching her hair and her shoulders and was putting his hand on her mouth like multiple times throughout the night to tell her to stop talking, like to tell her to shut up, basically. She said there was a colleague who told the man to stop it at the dinner, like in the moment, but then like basically nothing further happened from that. So she said after that, things started to get progressively worse for her at the company. Quote, in a work environment, you already feel stupid because you're young and you're the only female there. You're the most junior, she said to the Australian Review. I would expect my team to stick up for me and expect my manager to speak to that person the next day. If I had accepted the money to stay silent, I would have felt like they still had control over me, even after I had left the company. So this whole situation has resonated so much with women on TikTok. They've started posting their own stories of alleged inappropriate behavior and harassment in the workplace in solidarity with Chloe, and it's really shining a light, unfortunately, on how common this is for young women in the workplace. On one hand, it's heartwarming to see all these signs of solidarity and these women in Australia coming together on TikTok to share their stories about this and make other women feel like they're not alone. I imagine it's incredibly isolating when things like this happen to you at work and you're early in your career. However, it's also super sad. Like, it is sad how common that is. So for the time being, just to wrap that up for you guys, if you don't know Chloe, you don't follow her. So she is going to take a break, she has said, for like a year or two from corporate life. She has a robe wear line that she just started that she's going to focus on. She's going to do her influencing stuff. She said she has strong feelings on being a full-time influencer. That's like not the journey for her. But she did tell the Australian Financial Review that her robe company is on track to hit $1 million in revenue in its first year, which is amazing. Also, a final little tidbit for this episode is Brianna Chicken Fry. I didn't want to make this a main story, but Brianna Chicken Fry made like kind of a joke, I think, about the Ken Urich situation on the Tarte trip. So she was doing like a Vox Pop interview. Someone said something about, like, she was asked something about what the Tarte trip like is for, and she was like, it's for apologies, which, as we know, Ken was like, maybe when I see Brianna on the trip, she'll apologize to me. And also, Brianna is the digital cover star of Sports Illustrated. That just came out today. So she is living her best life. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being so supportive of our new Wednesday schedule, of Annabelle hosting. I'm so excited to see how well she does. I know she's going to slay. She is literally the backbone of Centennial content, like for real. I'm not even kidding. So I'm so excited that she is finally getting in front of the mic, and you guys will get to know her and love her as much as we all do. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Please follow me on Instagram. I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. No, I will. There will be a deep dive tomorrow, and then I'll talk to you Monday. Okay, bye.